Mhm. Hey neighbors, sorry about that false start. We are ready to get back at it. This is Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner. I'm glad that you could join me tonight for another Stampin' Sunday episode. If you watched the first little bit of that video, you'll know that I am excited to share a card with you tonight. I'm going to use 3 different stamp sets, and we're going to make a card on the fly. So if you have some stamp sets and some paper and some ink, go ahead and get them out and stamp along with me. I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll go ahead and get started. It always takes me a little second to figure out which buttons to click. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, here we are. I am sorry there was that little delay there. I had a phone call I needed to take. So, hopefully you're able to find me. Oh no, and I'm sideways. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fix it. I forgot to put that on mute when I did that. So you might have heard a little squeaky, creaky noise. Sorry about that. Okay, tonight we are going to use some of my favorite stamp sets. So, this is one of my all-time favorites, the Jar of Flowers. I love, love, love this mason jar and the punch that goes with it. So we're going to use that tonight. This is one of my favorite sentiment stamps called Peaceful Moments. And I've had this, I couldn't tell you exactly how long, but I love this stamp set. It's got a lot of really great sentiments. There's life is better with a friend like you. You shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. Congratulations. Thinking of you with all my heart. These are the moments we'll look back on with joy. Always remember, happy birthday with deepest sympathy. Thank you. And wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So I feel like it covers a wide variety of events. And then the last one we're going to use is this stacked stone cling stamp. So this is a big stamp and it's made for backgrounds. So we're going to use that as well. And then I have right here some Hues of Happiness paper. So these are the things that I pulled aside so far. I know I'm going to need more cardstock and some basic white. And I can't even be sure what else. But I think it'll be really cool. So what I wanted to do to start was I really like the color of this back side of this paper. And I wanted to punch my little jar out of that paper. And I know that it won't look like water, but that's kind of what I was thinking when I first thought I would punch it out like that. Okay, so here is my little jar. And I'm going to, let's see what color. I think we'll make our card white. So here is some basic white, and I have a piece right here that's cut 4¼ by 11, or at least I think it is. So let's measure it and just be sure. Yep, and that's 4¼ by 11. So then what I'm going to do is turn it to the side, and I'm going to score it at 5½. Now, when I fold it in half, that'll give me a card base that goes the tall way instead of the, I guess, vertical instead of horizontal. So it'll open like this. Okay, and I have my little jar here punched out. So next I need a background color, and I'm going to use this stacked stone. So let's cut a piece of white. And this card that I used for the base of the card is a thick basic white. It's a little bit heavier than the regular. The one I'm going to use next is just the regular basic white. And I'm going to cut that 4 by 5¼ Okay. And now I'm going to get my Stamparatus. If you do not have a Stamparatus yet, I would definitely recommend that you get one. I just noticed how crooked my video looks tonight. I did not notice that before. I'm sorry if that is bothering anyone. Okay, and when I use my Stamparatus, I like to keep one stamp case here on the left so that it holds this plate pretty flat. And that gives me a nice surface to add my ink onto. All right, and my stamp, let's see, is going to cover this whole piece. And so I'm not going to use my magnet to hold it down this time. I'm just going to ink up this stamp and stamp it over on top of here. So let's see, let's do some smoky slate. I think that'll make for a nice kind of brick background. So we're just going to tap our ink all over that stamp. Okay, and that looks pretty good. So then all I have to do is close that plate down and press it. And when I pick it up, a lot of the time this will stick. So over here, I have, where do I have that? I have a little pair of tweezers. And just because I don't want to get my fingers in all that ink, I can pick it up and flip it over. And there is my stamped image. I really like these large background stamps for times just like this, where I want to cover a whole piece of paper with an image. And I love this stacked stone. I love stones. I always wanted a house that had those little cobblestones all over it. I do not have that. But someday, um if I get the opportunity, I would swap out the brick on my house for those little cobblestones. Maybe like kind of a grayish blue color. And then there are a lot of things I would do if I if I had the ability. I don't. My house would probably stay the same for a really long time, with the exception of I really would like a bathroom down here in my craft space. Well, maybe someday. All right, so here we have our base and then our brick. Heck, I really like that brick. Okay, and this is our little jar. And I think what we'll do next, well, it's not turning out exactly the way I thought it would, but it's fine. Okay, so I think what I want to do, that feels like a lot of brick to me. Let's make it a little bit smaller. I'm just gonna cut maybe about an inch off this side over here. So that'll make our piece 3 inches wide. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think, oh, maybe a little more even. 3, let's do another half. So that'll make our piece 2.5 inches. And if you are following along today, if you're signed up for my email, when I send the email out this week, I have already started it. So it will definitely get out by Wednesday. I'll send all the measurements that go with this card so that if you're looking to, you can make this card as well. Okay, so that is going to be our jar, just like that, our card. Next, I want to stamp some flowers. And I really like this one here. That's feeling like my choice today. I can't guarantee it would always be the same, but today, that's the one I want. All right. Let's see. I have some little pieces of white here that are left over. I think that it might be just big enough for these flowers. Okay, let's see. Nope, it's not gonna be. Those flowers are big. But all right, I think I need to check and see where we're at with this. So if we have this, and then our flowers, I feel like those flowers are a little too big. So I'm gonna change my mind. Believe it or not, this happens quite a lot. And we're gonna go with these taller set of flowers. They're still not gonna fit on my little scrap, so I'll have to get a different one. But it'll all work out just fine. Okay, so here's my piece of white. And I'm going to stamp on there. Now this time I am going to use my magnet. I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to stamp in smoky slate so that it matches the background image I already stamped. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to clean. I haven't seen any comments yet. I could see that one person is watching, but I haven't seen any comments yet. So I hope you can hear me. I hope I didn't throw you off too much um when I stopped there a little bit at the beginning. Now I want to choose some colors that will go well with these blues here. And I think these purples go nice. So let's see. I think that the best thing to do might be to use watercolor pencils, except I don't see where I put them. Oh, here they are. All right, so here are the watercolor pencils. Now, they don't come like this anymore in a tin like this. Um, you can actually get two different sets of watercolor pencils now. Now, all the colors are really good, so it does not matter which ones you get. All right, I'm going to put this back away. And let's color this little set of flowers. See. I'm going to make these tulips be kind of purple. And I do want them to be kind of bright, but I'm going to go over them twice and add some shading in there. And I know I'm being kind of quiet as I'm coloring, but hopefully you can see. Let's see if I can. I'll zoom it in a little bit while I'm coloring, and maybe that'll help. Um, and I think I mentioned it before, but when I hold my pencil, I hold it between these two fingers and I color kind of on the side of the pencil. I feel like that gives me a little more control over the amount of pressure that I use. And it doesn't hurt my fingers as much mostly because I think I'm using my thumb more than uh, my pointer finger. And I try to go either in small circles or in quick strokes like this. So, but small circles are probably what I favor the most. But you can always find, as you color and you experiment, you'll find um, what works best for you. Okay, so there's like a first light layer on I think these are tulips. I'm not a flower expert by any means. I love flowers, but I am not an expert. And so now I'm going to go back and add a little bit of shading to hopefully give my flowers a little bit of depth and a bit brighter color. So I'm going to go along, kind of along the edges where there might be a little shadow, and along the lines here where I know it might be a little bit deeper. And I'm not pressing a whole lot harder. I'm just adding an extra layer of color. I hope that you're doing well out there tonight. There was some beautiful sunshine earlier. And I really did want to get out there and enjoy it, but I wasn't out there very long um, because I had some painting to do in the house. And it's a project that has been in progress for a long time. And I'm getting a little tired of it. So I tried to get some work done on that today too. And I did, and I had helpers, and so that was wonderful. But I am a little bit sad that I missed that time outside because from what I understand, the weather is not going to be super pleasant the next couple of days. I wish that it was, but it's here in Michigan, we kind of get what we get. And when the days are nice, I try to enjoy them. And when they're not so nice, I try to plan accordingly and get my inside stuff done. Okay, so hopefully these flowers will look good with our little blue jar. All right, so we've got the purple ones there. I think next we'll make a few little pink ones. And we'll have like a really colorful little bouquet here. I have to tell you that sometimes when I am stamping these little images and going to color them in, I have a hard time because I don't know what kind of flower they are or what color they should be. And while I know I can make them any color I want them to be, sometimes it's not quite what I want. All right, let's color some of these leaves in. Anytime I make a card that has a lot more coloring, I feel like it takes quite a bit longer than simple stamping. It's worth it because it's always beautiful in the end. But sometimes that time It's a little tricky. Let's see. And if you're looking for a different color green, you can use a different green. You could also use Stampin' Blends if you have the Stampin' Blends to color these flowers. You can use your Stampin' Right markers. Each coloring tool really has its own special qualities. All right, I'm going to make these other flowers blue so that maybe they'll match our jar a little bit. This one I must not have it on the right side there because it's not quite as smooth as what I feel like it could be. So now we've got some purple flowers, some blue flowers, our green leaves and stems, okay, and then we can go back and add our little bits of shading. And you just kind of want to go, you don't have to do a lot. You don't have to do any if you don't want to. But I like to go just around where the lines are, maybe where the petals would overlap a little bit, and just kind of add a little extra layer of color there to help them stand out a little bit. This is one of my favorite stamp sets, really, because you can do so much with those flowers. I think you could cut out these individual ones and you could pop them up a little bit and stamp another image behind. There's just a lot. There's a lot you could do. Let's see. And I'm going to color these other ones yellow. Just to add another little bright color in there. There we go. All right. So now those are all colored in. And what I'm going to do next is cut these out. So I'm going to fussy cut them. And that just means I'm going to go around and trim them with my scissors. And while you're trimming, you want to hold your paper up and try hard to turn your paper, not your scissors. So that will do two things, I think. At least it does for me. It helps me not to cut towards my hand. So then I'm not taking as big a risk that I might cut myself. And I feel like my cuts are smoother. My edges are smoother. I couldn't tell you exactly why that is, but so it's for safety reasons and for smoothness reasons. Mostly because I think if I'm turning my scissors, I'm probably more likely to slip. My hands are more likely to slip. My cutting hand, I should say. I also try really hard not to grip my scissors too tight. I find that helps a little bit too. All right, so here is our little bunch of flowers. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. We've got our background stamp and our jar, our little bunch of flowers. I can't decide which way they should go, behind or in front. I think maybe in front, even though they won't look like they're coming out of the jar. Maybe behind would be better. All right, so there's what we've got so far for that. And we're going to need to choose a sentiment. So let's do, I think let's do thinking of you with all my heart. That's a good one to send no matter what the occasion is. So let's stick that right there at the bottom. And I think this time we'll use the Memento Black to cut our sentiment out. So here's my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I'm going to set my stamp set under the edge of my Stamparatus. I got to zoom back out. Oh, oops. Hold on. There we go. So you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to tap, tap, tap on that stamp until it looks like the ink is nice and even. Then I'll just lane it over, press it down. And there is my sentiment. Okay, and now I feel like I'm just moving things from the right side to the left side today. I'm going to trim that. Let's see. Looks like about 1 1/4 maybe. And then 2 1/4. Okay, so here, well, I kind of want it to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to trim a little bit off each edge here. I'm going to trim it at 2 1/8. No, I like that better. And then on this side at 1 1/8. Okay, one of the things I love about this trimmer, if you just notice that, I don't know if you did or not, but when you go to put your paper in there, if you're just trimming off a tiny little edge, and as long as it hits this edge here at the top, when you close that down, you can hold this bar right here and it will hold your paper in place so that your cut is nice and straight, even though you can't get your finger in there on the actual paper. So that's just a little hint in case you need to cut some smaller little pieces. But I found that works really well. Okay, so now we have our sentiment. We've got our stamped pieces. I want to, let's see. I want to grab some smoky slate ink here, and I'm going to sponge the edges of this jar. Oh, hold on, I don't have the right sponge. Let me get a new one. I can't find, I must have put those little sponges away where I can't find them. I feel like every time I clean my craft room, I lose things. All right, let's see. Maybe I can use another color that will work all right. And of course, I don't have any gray ones in here at all. Where did I put those little sponges? Let's see. Oh, here they are. Okay, so little sponges like this, they come in a pack of 6, I think. If you don't have any little sponges, you probably need some. They're really nice for adding just a little bit of color to whatever you need to add color to. So we're just going to take our little sponge dauber and we're going to go around the edges of our little jar like this. And it doesn't do a lot. You won't notice a huge difference, but it will help it to stand out and look like it has an edge, more of an edge than it would otherwise. Okay. Now, let's see. We've got this one, this, our little jar. our sentiment that'll go right here. And then I think it would be nice if we had a little something to go behind that sentiment. So let's get, let's see, I'm trying to think what kind of shape would be good back there. Let's try this. Let's see. Nope, that's not going to be quite big enough. Um, I think we'll just put a little piece of, let's see, smoky slate behind there. Or no, let's use, where's that little piece I punched the jar out of? Oh, right here. Let's use some of this. I think that'd be kind of cool behind there. Okay. So this was 1 1/8 by 2 1/8. So we're going to cut this to, look at that, it just fits 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. And that'll just give it a little edge around. So then we can put these two together and that'll stand out just a little bit. Okay, so here is our liquid glue. And we're going to put that right in the center and glue it down. All right. And then, you know what? I'm going to move this stamparatus right out of the way because I feel like it's not giving me quite enough space to work. All right. And we're going to glue this down here on the right. Just like this. We're going to line it up so that it's matched up with that right hand side, just with like 1/8 of an inch around. Okay, and then we want our flowers to go next, I think, and then the jar up like this so that it looks like those flowers are sticking out of the jar. So let's put those on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Okay, and we'll just stick them right up here like this. And then we'll put the jar underneath them. Okay, so that it goes like that. And we can put our thinking of you right here. Now I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals on that too. We're dimensionaling all around tonight. Lots of dimension. Okay. Oh, this will go. Whoop, got one of those little back pieces in there. This will go right here. And then I think we need a few sparkly somethings. Let's see. Let's use. No, I don't think that's right. Hold on, hold on. I think maybe these will be really pretty with this. Okay. So let's use some of these 2022 to 2024 in color matte dots. These go really well with that Hues of Happiness paper. All right. So we have all kinds of colors here to choose from. I've got my take your pick tool, and remember it has the sticky end, so we can pick those dots right up. So I think what we'll do is we'll grab a couple of these kind of pink ones, and I'll put one up over there. And let's get one of these bigger ones. Oh, I want it to be lighter than that. Let's see. Yep. Sometimes you don't know until you get it close, right? One of those, and then let's do one of these nice dark ones out here. I don't feel like that's enough. I don't feel like that's enough fancy dots for tonight. So let's just throw a couple more on there for good measure. And let's see. Maybe one of these little yellow ones. Oh, I didn't even pick that up. There we go. Okay, I think that's better. So here's our Stampin' Sunday card for tonight. We use 3 different stamp sets, all stamp sets that I really love. If you want these stamp sets, please do not miss out on them. I can tell you that they'll be retiring soon. The Jar of Flowers, the Jar Punch, the Peaceful Moment stamp set, and the Stacked Stone. I'll try to go live maybe Tuesday night and let you guys know what all is retiring. But on Tuesday is when all of the retiring items go on the last chance list. And if there are things that you don't want to miss out on, I can tell you don't wait till the end of the sale to order them, because that has happened before, and people have missed out. If there's a thing you really want, if you really want one of these stamp sets or a certain punch or a die that's on that list, you need to order it right away. I don't want you to miss out on it. So, and let me know if you have any questions or if you have trouble ordering. I do have to work this week, but I should be home Tuesday night. But if there's something you really, really want, and I were you, I would not wait until Tuesday night. So I just want you to know that please, please, please be aware that you don't want to miss out on this stuff. So I hope that you have a wonderful week, and the email will be coming out really soon. So make sure that you are signed up for the email list. And I do have a class coming up this month. That is on, I had to move it forward a little bit. So it's April 14th. And I can show you the cards for that. These are some really cute cards and they're super fun. Okay, so here is the first one. And here's another one. This one that's made on vellum. This is so cool, you guys. This one. And this one has a wink of Stella on that heart. That's what makes it sparkly like that. And then this is the last one. So make sure that if you want to come to that in-person class that you're signed up. That's on April 14th. There's a link in my email to sign up for that, to register for that class. So I will see you next week. Actually, next week is Easter Sunday. So I will try to go live maybe the night before or sometime during the week instead of on Easter, because I'm having dinner here at my house. So happy stamping, and I will see you soon. Bye.